Good afternoon, everyone. LeGrand Richardson here, coming to you in a very busy time at Hannah Pamplico Elementary and Middle School as we prepare for our 2020-2021 registration and startup. Very excited about the opportunity to get another year started, both in the virtual school environment and here face-to-face. I want to share a couple of items of information with you today. First of all, I want to remind everyone that our registration is scheduled for next week. On Tuesday, August 4th, from 9 until 2, we'll do 4K through 8th grade registration. And then again on Wednesday, August 5th, from 2 until 7, a second round of registration. We wanted to split it over 2 days and leave plenty of time. As you know, we'll be required to do some social distancing based on the governor's order yesterday. We'll be required to have folks wearing masks in the building, so please make sure you help us out as you come in to register and have appropriate facial covering on. We'll try to move you through as quickly as possible. We'll be looking to register students, verify schedules, make sure we've got you either in a virtual situation or here in our brick and mortar school face-to-face as you've registered. We'll also want to collect the necessary fees and also get photos for everyone's student IDs. Those are things that we'll look to take care of next Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, be patient with us. We'll check you in. We're going to make sure we have social distance seating. We'll have one family report to a table at a time per grade level so that we can help take care of everyone, try to move you in and out as efficiently as possible. If you have any questions or concerns, shoot us an email at school.lrichardson@fsd2.org or give us a call, 843-493-2061 in the office from 7:30 until 5, Monday through Thursday. Also want to address a couple of questions that we've had, just some clarification after our previous Facebook Live question and answer session, and also from some emails that we've got. First of all, I want to clarify our virtual learning platform, and I want to be careful to make sure I use the term virtual learning. What we did last spring was e-learning, emergency learning to get us through the end of the year. Now we're going to be in a more true virtual environment. We'll have that offer 4K through 8th. It will look a little differently across the grade levels. Basically 4K through 5th grade will be entirely teacher driven. We'll be using the Google Classroom. We'll be using Google Meet for live or recorded sessions, much like Google's version of Zoom, if you will. Of course, teachers have a YouTube channel. They'll be able to be in contact in a much more real life or I guess real-time fashion than we were back in the spring. We'll have devices, again, for students down as low as 4K. Another question I've had is about the reentry or moving between the two programs. Well, certainly we would ask that you please make sure of your commitment to either virtual school or in-face instruction and be prepared to work in that environment through the first semester. But we're going to allow for opportunities for administrative discretion. We want to help you and your family meet your needs. We don't want to hand tie anyone any more than we have to, but in order to get the resources out that we need and in order to place teachers, because even virtual classes require a separate section assignment for teachers, we have to know what those numbers are and be prepared to work with them, make sure we've got everything set for students. So certainly we want to grant you maximum flexibility. We're not going to shut the door and say no way, shape, or how is there a manner for moving between virtual and face-to-face or face-to-face and virtual. But please take very seriously your decision, your plans, and plan to commit to that for a semester with the understanding from all of us that things will happen, dynamics change within a family and your needs, and we want to always be able to help you with that. Also, questions about computer engagement. Again, this will not be, our virtual school will not be what we did in the spring. Don't expect big packets home. Don't expect a few hours a week of just work and get it turned in and checking. there will be engagement. Again, particularly through those grades K through 5, it will be more direct, more in real time using the Google Classroom. In middle school, you'll have that same opportunity for engagement with teachers, but we'll also be using something our district's invested in for several years, Apex Learning. And I invite those of you that aren't familiar with it to visit apexlearning.com to look at some of the options and offerings there. There'll still be a teacher of record, there'll be still a teacher checking in, engaging, working with students, but a lot of it will be funneled through the Apex platform with everything from videos and assignments and readings that are already there. A little more standard version, if you will, of what's been used for virtual learning, online learning. Many parents may be familiar with it because of high schools using it for credit recovery, using it for individual learning lab opportunities. So it's something our district is familiar with. But the one thing I would stress to you is there will be expected periods of engagement. There will be roll taken. There will be attendance required and minimal hours of engagement required. So it may not look like a definite 8 to 3 in front of a computer, certainly, okay? But there will be periods that they'll be expected to engage with teachers live. There'll be periods that they'll be expected to get on and do their work, and we'll be able to monitor their logged in status and use that for our attendance. And we'll report attendance to the state just like with in-person schooling. Virtual classes, there's a virtual homeroom when you pick up your child's schedule that attendance will be taken daily and will be submitted. How do we take that attendance? We do it based on logins and engagement and work being turned in. And the last thing I had a question about is what I'm going to call onboarding. How do we get devices in these students' hands? Well, once we get through registration, get everyone established that it's in our virtual school, we'll be back in contact with you with dates and times to come out, pick up devices, log in, make sure they're working. For those of you who've had students here in the district in the past, won't be a lot different from what we've done previously. Students are familiar with how to log in. They are familiar with their Clever badges and Clever sign-ins. Won't be much of a difference. For those of you who have 4-year-olds, maybe 5-year-olds rising, who have never dealt with it day in and day out, we'll be offering a tablet-style device, not a full keyboard device, but a tablet. Most are familiar with iPads. It's not an actual iPad, it's a different provider, but that same concept with virtual keyboards, something that's more appropriate for their size of their hands and their keyboarding skills. And we will have some onboarding meetings with 4 and 5K students and parents, because parents, we're going to have to train you how to access these materials so that you can work with your students. And there will be periodic times we're going to be asking you to come out and re-engage to help us update and make sure that you're able to do all the things you need to do at home to help your student engage so that they'll progress academically. Whether you're in virtual school or face-to-face brick and mortar school, there'll still be state required formative assessments like iReady, TE21s, different things that will still have to be done, and we'll help familiarize you and work with you in getting that up and on board. It won't be a perfect process is in place on day one. It will take us some time, but that's what we want to use that time between registration and the beginning of our Elite Day, or Elite Days rather, on August 31st. So I hope I've tried to address all of the remaining questions. Certainly I invite you to continue to email. You can go to our Facebook page. You can access information, send questions in. Ms. Amy McAllister helps me monitor that very closely. Again, we want to provide for you the best information, the best understanding of what we're doing that we can. And reminder again, registration next week. Hope to see everyone in. Help us social distance. Help us with wearing masks. And thanks to everyone, and have a good afternoon.